and welcome to this Zwift Run live stream. My name is Stephen. I'm a Zwift ambassador, a community run leader and your host today. There's a countdown clock up there showing how long to go before the start of the main event, so you've probably got time to tidy the kitchen, take the trash out and grab yourself a drink before we get going. If you've never seen Zwift before, it's an online game where athletes from all over the world train, compete against and socialise with each other live and in real time. All you need to take part is a footpod, an internet connection, access to a treadmill and a device on which to run the Zwift app. You can use a computer, an iPad, an iPhone, a high-end Android device. Zwift even works on Apple TV. If you have a smart treadmill, you don't even need a footpod, as your treadmill will send your speed direct to Zwift. Once you've logged in and made sure your equipment is connected, you can join others live for structured group workouts or social runs. You could do a solo workout or take part in one of the many in-game challenges. You could also pit yourself against people from all over the world in a race. There are various Zwift worlds. Some are based on existing places like London, New York, Innsbruck, Richmond, Virginia and Harrogate in the UK. But the biggest world is the fictional Watopia, where you can run in glass tunnels underwater, through the middle of a volcano, in a jungle, up to the top of a snow-capped mountain and on country trails. Watopia is where the Zwift developers let their imagination fly. Like any computer game, the more you run, the higher up the levels you climb and the more virtual goodies you require. If you're a regular treadmill runner, Zwift is going to transform your training. If you're a hater, Zwift is going to change the way you think about indoor running. Before we go any further, if you're watching on YouTube, please click that subscribe button and the bell icon so you're notified every time we go live on this channel. If you're watching on Facebook, please click the like button on the Film My Run page. Film My Run is also my other YouTube channel where I post real world runs, so if you're interested in marathons, ultra running, 10Ks or triathlons, you'll find product reviews, interviews and races over on that channel. I've been running all my life. I started running long distance races in 2011 when I ran my first half marathon, and that was followed a year later by my first marathon in Paris. I've run the Paris Marathon every year since and have now run well over 100 marathons and ultras. I started using Zwift at the beginning of 2015 when indoor cycling and smart trainers really took off. In the early days, I held the long distance record for cycling of 500 kilometres on Zwift for about 48 hours. And when running started in 2016, I was the first person to run a marathon on Zwift. So if you have any questions about Zwift, if I don't know the answer, I probably know somebody who does. Okay, so now you can go and take the trash out and get that drink. And make sure you keep an eye on that countdown and be back in time for the start proper. Well, go on then, don't just sit there gawping at me. Basically, this message is going to go around in a loop again and again until the start of the run, so you may as well go and do something constructive in the meantime. And welcome to this Zwift Run live stream. My name is Stephen. I'm a Zwift ambassador, a community run leader and your host today. There's a countdown clock up there showing how long to go before the start of the main event, so you've probably got time to tidy the kitchen, take the trash out and grab yourself a drink before we get going. If you've never seen Zwift before, it's an online game where athletes from all over the world train, compete against and socialise with each other live and in real time. All you need to take part is a footpod, an internet connection, access to a treadmill and a device on which to run the Zwift app. You can use a computer, an iPad, an iPhone, a high-end Android device. Zwift even works on Apple TV. If you have a smart treadmill, you don't even need a footpod, as your treadmill will send your speed direct to Zwift. Once you've logged in and made sure your equipment is connected, you can join others live for structured group workouts or social runs. You could do a solo workout or take part in one of the many in-game challenges. You could also pit yourself against people from all over the world in a race. There are various Zwift worlds. Some are based on existing places like London, New York, Innsbruck, Richmond, Virginia and Harrogate in the UK. But the biggest world is the fictional Watopia, where you can run in glass tunnels underwater, through the middle of a volcano, in a jungle, up to the top of a snow-capped mountain and on country trails. Watopia is where the Zwift developers let their imagination fly. Like any computer game, the more you run, the higher up the levels you climb and the more virtual goodies you require. If you're a regular treadmill runner, Zwift is going to transform your training. If you're a hater, Zwift is going to change the way you think about indoor running. Before we go any further, if you're watching on YouTube, please click that subscribe button and the bell icon so you're notified every time we go live on this channel. If you're watching on Facebook, please click the like button on the Film My Run page. Film My Run is also my other YouTube channel where I post real world runs, so if you're interested in marathons, ultra running, 10Ks or triathlons, you'll find product reviews, interviews and races over on that channel. I've been running all my life. I started running long distance races in 2011 when I ran my first half marathon, and that was followed a year later by my first marathon in Paris. I've run the Paris Marathon every year since and have now run well over 100 marathons and ultras. I started using Zwift at the beginning of 2015 when indoor cycling and smart trainers really took off. In the early days, I held the long distance record for cycling of 500 kilometres on Zwift for about 48 hours. And when running started in 2016, I was the first person to run a marathon on Zwift. So if you have any questions about Zwift, if I don't know the answer, I probably know somebody who does. Okay, so now you can go and take the trash out and get that drink. And make sure you keep an eye on that countdown and be back in time for the start proper. Well, go on then, don't just sit there gawping at me. Basically, this message is going to go around in a loop again and again until the start of the run, so you may as well go and do something constructive in the meantime. Hello and welcome to this Zwift Run live stream. My name is Stephen. I'm a Zwift ambassador, a community run leader and your host today. There's a countdown clock up there showing how long to go before the start of the main event, so you've probably got time to tidy the kitchen, take the trash out and grab yourself a drink before we get going. If you've never seen Zwift before, it's an online game where athletes from all over the world train, compete against and socialise with each other live and in real time. All you need to take part is a foot pod, an internet connection, access to a treadmill and a device on which to run the Zwift app. You can use a computer, an iPad, an iPhone, a high-end Android device. Zwift even works on Apple TV. If you have a smart treadmill, you don't even need a foot pod, as your treadmill will send your speed direct to Zwift. Once you've logged in and made sure your equipment is connected, you can join others live for structured group workouts or social runs. You could do a solo workout or take part in one of the many in-game challenges. You could also pit yourself against people from all over the world in a race. There are various Zwift worlds. Some are based on existing places like London, New York, Innsbruck, Richmond, Virginia and Harrogate in the UK. But the biggest world is the fictional Watopia, where you can run in glass tunnels underwater, through the middle of a volcano, in a jungle, up to the top of a snow-capped mountain and on country trails. Watopia is where the Zwift developers let their imagination fly. Like any computer game, the more you run, the higher up the levels you climb and the more virtual goodies you require. If you're a regular treadmill runner, Zwift is going to transform your training. If you're a hater, Zwift is going to change the way you think about indoor running. Before we go any further, if you're watching on YouTube, please click that subscribe button and the bell icon so you're notified every time we go live on this channel. If you're watching on Facebook, please click the like button on the Film My Run page. Film My Run is also my other YouTube channel where I post real world runs, so if you're interested in marathons, ultra running, 10Ks or triathlons, you'll find product reviews, interviews and races over on that channel. I've been running all my life. I started running long distance races in 2011 when I ran my first half marathon, and that was followed a year later by my first marathon in Paris. I've run the Paris Marathon every year since and have now run well over 100 marathons and ultras. I started using Zwift at the beginning of 2015 when indoor cycling and smart trainers really took off. In the early days, I held the long distance record for cycling of 500 kilometres on Zwift for about 48 hours. And when running started in 2016, I was the first person to run a marathon on Zwift. So if you have any questions about Zwift, if I don't know the answer, I probably know somebody who does. Okay, so now you can go and take the trash out and get that drink. And make sure you keep an eye on that countdown and be back in time for the start proper. Well, go on then, don't just sit there gawping at me. Basically, this message is going to go around in a loop again and again until the start of the run, so you may as well go and do something constructive in the meantime. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Film My Run on Zwift. My name is Stephen Cousins and we are broadcasting live around the world on Facebook, on twitch.tv, on Mixer and on YouTube. While we're getting everything set up, it would be absolutely awesome if you could go and subscribe to the Film My Run YouTube channel and also the Zwift Runs and Rides YouTube channel. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/filmmyrun, on Twitter at filmmyrun, and you can also go to the website, which is www.filmmyrun.com. It's very nearly time, so sit back, relax and watch me do all the hard work. Right, good evening everybody. Well, it's evening here in the UK. I don't know what time it is with you, but it's quite late here. It's 9 o'clock at night, and this is way past my bedtime. I'm normally in the bath now, or just getting my gym jammy jammers on. can't believe I've just said gym jammy jammers. Okay. We are going to do Monday Run Club, but Monday Run Club with a slight difference because it's being hosted by Sean Jefferson from Zwift HQ. He's just going to lead us through a gentle, progressive run this evening, or today. With Sean, it's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon over in LA. So 1 p.m. Pacific time. About 3 or 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's 10 o'clock at night in Europe and 9 o'clock in the evening in the UK. We are going in 40 seconds. But it's going to be a fairly steady, sedate run today. If you've got any questions, then do ask. And if you want to ask, Sean any questions about Zwift, he'd be more than happy to answer. Just log in. If you can still log into the run a bit late. You don't have to actually run, but if you're logged in, you can still ask a question. Right, we're off, and we're supposed to be going at 9.7 kilometres per hour. It's not a very long run today, just about 7 kilometres. Now, where's... Oh, shit. Right, Sean's obviously had a problem with a technical issue. He's just a bit behind. He needs to speed up and catch us all. Mark Binns, hello to you. Gutted that I did the 7:30 session. That was very tough, shattered by the end of that. Mark Binns, that will be much better for you though than this session. This session is a bit of an easier stroll, really. It's just a chance for people to chat to Sean Jefferson from Zwift HQ, and it does look like it's individual paces. So Sean just seems to be hanging back a bit, unless he's had a technical error. I wonder if we should wait for Sean. Shall I hang back and wait for Sean? Always better, Sean. Always better, Mark, to do the harder effort if you can, and you'll get better trained up. Good luck with Manchester Marathon. Never done that one, but it's a nice flat one. So if you're going for a time, Manchester Marathon is a good place to try and get a decent time. Now, I'm not going to speed up. I'm just going to keep it fairly slow. Maybe Sean, Jonathan, and we could all stick together. What do you think? Should we slow it down? Shall I slow it down? And because Sean's like a minute and a half behind. Oh, but he's not running. Sean's obviously had a technical hitch for whatever reason, and he's over a minute. All right, repairing and jumping back in. So Sean's had a technical problem, so he's going to jump back in and join us, and hopefully he'll be able to catch us up. So Jonathan's just going to stick at my pace. I'm just wondering whether we just kind of wait for Sean. I mean, he's gunning it to catch us up. The thing is, everybody else is going to go past and on, aren't they? So hello, Matt Orrell. Matt Orrell is training for Brighton Marathon, and he is trying again to get a sub 4 hours. And Nathan says Manchester is a nice flat marathon. Sean is 1 minute 50 seconds behind. Sean says he's got the LA Marathon on March the 8th. Right, I'm just gonna stay at this pace, Jonathan, for the time being, and see if Sean can catch us up. I mean, he is catching us. Mark Binns says, I've done half 4 times in Manchester. Ironically, I've always found it tougher than Leeds and Sheffield, which are hilly. Hoping for around 335, 340 in Manchester. Good job. Well, quite often you do find that flat marathons are more difficult, just because you get a natural break when you've got hills in a run, and so you naturally slow down. Whereas if you're just kind of trying to go at a constant pace for 26 full miles, that is really hard, it's really difficult. Nathan, I'm not working hard. Oh, you're doing London, Matt. Oh, wow, okay, cool. Why did I think you were doing Brighton? I don't know. So Matt Orrell is doing London Marathon. I'm doing London Marathon, but I'll be a long way behind you because I'm filming somebody else. And I think they're hoping to do it in about 5.5 hours. So I'll be running at a fairly slow pace. Me and my mate Martin. I did a hill session this morning, so I'm quite glad of this fairly sedate pace. Just while we wait for Sean Jefferson to catch us up. Right, I've just messaged Adam Holland to say, what's your next marathon? Oh, Adam's had a dropout now as well. Do you know what? A few people have been reporting dropouts, haven't they? Adam Holland, you may remember, helped me out at the National Running Show. He ran with me in the afternoon. Victoria ran with me in the mornings. And Adam's a pretty speedy runner. So here we are up to 1 kilometre. We've got 600 metres to go of the warm-up. At this pace, it's okay I can text and run at this pace. That's not too bad. But much faster, and I do find it a bit difficult. And also sweat drips onto your phone, so you can't type. Peter Denny, thanks for the ride on, buddy. And everyone else who's given me a ride on already and I haven't noticed, thank you. Sorry, I haven't been paying much attention. Okay, Jonathan Cost is running at 110%. If you notice, by the way, on the top left, you'll see it says a percentage, 100%. So you can alter that to go faster or slower. I mean, you can also just turn up your treadmill or turn it down. But you'll get the stars, you see, if you alter it. Sean Jefferson says if he makes the start line of the LA Marathon, that would be his first marathon. Oh dear, I can't type now. Now that I've said this. Let's see if that makes any sense. Right, Sean is right back with us. And just in time for the start. And here he is, look. Right, now he speeds past us. We're going to have to speed up now, aren't we? Put my phone down and catch up with him. So he's going at 5 something per kilometre. Let's just stay with Sean. Right. So this is the first little increase, but we're not really sticking to this now because we're just sticking with Sean. Right, sorry, hang on a second. I've got to read all these messages now. Nathan says Discord coming soon for runners. Discord already Tim says Discord already exists. You can use it whenever you want, it's just not many of us do. Jonathan Costa's already said he'll probably run straight past us, and he does. Come on, Jonathan, try and keep up. Tim Gross says video lost, is it me? Anybody else not see video? And Mark Binns said, how is training for your Trans Gran Canaria going? It's difficult to say. I think it's going okay. I've had a slight ankle injury, which I've been trying to kind of rest a bit. So I had a week or so of very light training. Mark Binns says the video looks fine to him. But last week I did almost 100 kilometres, and this week I'm attempting to do a little bit more than that, along with quite a lot of elevation. So hopefully another couple of weeks of heavy training and I should be in some kind of shape to run Trans Gran Canaria. I haven't put my fan on and I know now I'm going to regret that. Thanks for all these ride-ons that keep coming in, by the way. Sorry about that. I keep ignoring you all, don't I? Simon Funnel, thank you. Right, grab my phone. We will stick with you. Sullivan, thanks for the ride on.
Ride on.
And Sia as well, thank you as well for your ride on from Spain, is that?
Ride on.
So no elevation on the treadmill today. I did all my elevation this morning. Did a good 500 metres of climbing in this morning's run. Nathan, the next big thing coming for runners will be time-based workouts. So we're just in the process of kind of sorting those out now. So you'll be able to do workouts based on time. So I'm just asking Sean, what's the next big thing runners can expect from Zwift? Jay Smith, thanks for the ride on. So Jonathan Cost is sticking with us. We've got Sid Sachs from Canada, who's a couple of minutes behind. We've got A. Thompson from Brazil, who is over a minute and a half ahead. And probably Adam Holland is miles ahead as well, not able to type clearly. Kaneko from Japan, hope you're all right. Thanks for the ride on. Jonathan says, what the frick are we getting ourselves into? We've got more partner events coming this spring and summer. So, spring and summertime, guys, look forward to events like the run event that we did with Mo Farah, or sponsored events where you might get a reward. Like if it's a Hoka event, you might get Hoka t-shirt or Hoka shoes in-game. And Sean's saying the next big event is the Watopia Run Festival on February 22nd and 23rd. Jason Darby, good evening, buddy. Mark Binns, Discord is a third-party application which allows you to talk. Gamers use it a lot. You can talk in real life, in real time, with other gamers. So rather than text speak, you actually just use your voice and talk to people. Cyclists have used it a little bit, but it's not really taken off all that much for Zwift. Oh no! Go away! Oh! Right, bit of a disaster. I've just dropped my keyboard. All the keys have smashed everywhere. So I have to pick all that up at the end. I can't do it now. And I've lost a bit of time on the boys. So I'll just catch up.
Jack it up.
So Jason Darby says, hoping to get his Zwift running machine thing set up. Hope it's better than Milestone Pod. Do you mean the Run? The Run treadmill smart sensor? It is better than the Run Pod. It's not perfect, but it is better than the Run Pod, that's for sure. Right, I'm just going to try and lean over and put my fan on because I'm burning up a bit in here. Quite a wind blowing outside, I can see. My curtain, you might be able to see my curtain blowing all over the place. Green screen curtain. Ward Verlinden, thanks for the ride on. Yeah, Jason, I think you'll find that okay, you know. Just make sure you take the time to set it up correctly. You know, you might need a bit of experimenting to set it up correctly for your treadmill. But once you've got it set up, all the reports are that it's pretty decent. And we've got Zwift, Sean Jefferson saying the Zwift Race Series is coming up soon as well. So it's quite a few events to look forward to soon on Zwift. So through another marker, but we are already going faster than my instructions. I'm just staying with the boys here now. I can probably drop back a tad. and now Sean says, you ready for a little pickup? So let's see how fast he picks it up too. We've done 3.3, got 3.4 to go, so we're almost halfway through the run. Basically, we're supposed to be doing 400 metre sets. and speeding up after each 400 metres, but we're not really doing that, to be honest. Oh, I've not put my heart rate on. Shall I do that? I might lose a bit of time. Oh, I can't because my keyboard's smashed on the floor. Right, Nathan, I'll ask that. Nathan would like to know if we will ever see more spawn points to see more of Watopia. Come on, Jonathan, keep up. 3 kilometres left of Monday Run Club. That's about 15 minutes of running at our current speed. Ward Verlinden says that the amount of training you do, you're going to do a sub 2-hour marathon. Is that me or Jonathan or Sean you're talking to? I would love to do a sub 3-hour marathon one day. But whether I'll ever get to it or not, I don't know. All those ride-ons that have just come in, thank you guys. De Bruyne, thank you.
Right on.
And there's 4 kilometres done now. Well, according to the kilometre splits, anyway. Sean says, I hope we get more spawn points. There is a long list of projects. Jonathan Cost is starting to lose stars. Oh no. Good evening, Daniel. Ward, to do a sub 3 marathon, I would have to dedicate my training to sub 3 hours. And the thing about that is, I do so many ultra runs, so much long distance, I would just have to cut all that out. And maybe for like a year or 6 months, solely concentrate on running, on marathon training. And to be honest, if it's a choice of running hard and flat on tarmac or climbing up into the mountains above the clouds, I think I know what my choice is. But you never know. At some point I might say, right, this year I'm going to try for it. So we'll see, never say never. Jonathan Cost was just saying that he's a 10k runner, and Sean Jefferson says shorter events don't mean easier. So I'm just saying I'd rather run 100 miles than suffer a sub 40 10k. So less than 2.5 kilometres to go off Monday Run Club. We're sticking with Sean Jefferson from Zwift HQ, who is just upping the speed every 400 metres just a little bit. Well, that's very kind of you, Ward, thank you. Yeah, Sean Jefferson is just saying 10k cross country. 10k cross country is brutal. Mud, cold and elbows. And he's quite right. If you've ever been in a cross country race, the elbowing and the pushing and shoving and the scratching with spikes is crazy. So still staying with Sean as we run through the desert. Paul Deering says, let's convince Jonathan he should aim for a marathon. Jonathan, what do you say? A marathon one day? Doesn't have to be quick. Between 4 and 5 hours. I say everyone, just Paul Deering, but you know. So coming up to the beautiful oasis here, the rainbow and the waterfall, the flowers, gorgeous here. Jonathan says, my legs aren't up to it, I'd die at a half. And Sean Jefferson says peer pressure. It's all mental conditioning, Jonathan. If you know that you're going to do 26 miles, your body and your mind get ready for that challenge. You could do it. And as exactly, Sean says, if you can run 10k, you can do a marathon. Just need the training time. That's it. So Sean's just upped it a little bit now. So we're up to about 13 kilometres per hour with 1 mile to go. Ward, you can easily do a marathon before you're 40. And then plenty after you're 40 as well. Oh, that's me, yeah. And then Mark Bin says, do you have any tips on the mental side of a marathon? Heard people hit a brick wall at 18 miles. Okay, 2 things to say about that. The brick wall, it actually isn't a mental thing. Well, it kind of is, but it kind of isn't. So, your body burns glycogen for energy, sugar, basically. Fast-acting sugar. When it runs out of sugar, it will convert to burning fat as its fuel source. But burning fat is slower. The metabolism process for burning fat is slower than for glycogen. for sugar. So that's why when you get to about 18 to 20 miles, if you haven't fueled yourself correctly, you will run out of glycogen and your body will start burning fat, and that will slow you down dramatically. So the takeaway from that is that running a marathon, you need to practice your nutrition to get it right, so that you don't, it's called bonking, or hit the wall at 18 to 20 miles. Now, the other part of your question is about mental toughness. Alyssa Henning, thank you for your ride on.
Right on!
And really that's gained through experience. So, when you have suffered in a marathon or in an ultra, in any race, when you have suffered and gone to that dark place where it hurts, where you don't think you can do it, and then you've come out the other side and you've been successful, or at least you've completed the marathon or whatever, that builds mental confidence and mental toughness. So the next time you get there, and the next time you have that dark place, you know that you can come out the other side. You have the mental capacity to say, I've done this before, I did it before, I can do it again. Jason Darby says, I don't like marathons, but I like ultras. I think I've lost the plot. Well, it depends what kind of marathon and what kind of ultra. Flat road marathons, yeah, I could quite see that, how you could lose the love and prefer beautiful trail marathons or trail ultras. So back to Mark Binns. Yeah, it's just experience, but also the number one reason that people DNF in marathons and ultra races is through poor nutrition and not managing their food correctly, not managing their fuel correctly. So you need to practice that. You need to see what works for you. What food can you consume without feeling sick, without getting a dicky tummy, and stick with that food or fuel. And it actually, the thing is, it might be different for different races, and certainly in different temperatures as well. So the fuel that you use in hot weather may be very different to the fuel that you use in cold weather. So Paul Deering says he's hit the wall on his last two London marathons. Third time lucky, he hopes, training with higher and longer intensity until April. Paul, no luck involved. There's no luck, there's training, there's working hard, and there's practice with your nutrition. Get it right and you'll be fine. Right, I've missed the speed up. Daniel says, you need to practice when it comes to longer distances and times. Most people easily do 2 hours, but after that, you need a plan. At least most people, unless you are good at burning fat. And that's one thing to try. If you're a little way from your marathon, you might want to try some fasted runs. Not every single training run, but some training runs can be fasted. That means not eating before you go out and only eating a minimal amount when you're running, and then eat well afterwards. So this will teach your body to burn fat a little bit more efficiently and therefore you'll need fewer gels or less sugary food. And the less sugary food you have, the less likely you are to have stomach issues. But you'll still be able to fuel yourself to keep running. And here we are, coming to the end. Well done, Sean. Well done, Jonathan. I can't give right. Oh, maybe I can. Hang on. Oh, get off. I can't. I'm just going to wait till it goes now. I can't get my keyboard off the floor. 7 seconds. 6, 5. Right, it should go back now. There we go. And nearly done. Just get to the end. 7 kilometres. Mike Catton says, I'm looking at trying to increase my threshold run from 8:30 a mile to 7:30 a mile. If I run threshold sessions at 8:30 a mile, if I do this, what 5k, 10k, half marathon pace be? Thank you. Gosh, that's maths in my head, hang on. Right, hold on a second. So, 7-minute miles, 7.5 minute miles, 8:30. Tell you what, look, rather than me guessing, I'm going to use my app. So, we want to be in miles. And we want to go at 7 minutes 30 seconds per mile. So 5k time, you're looking at 23 minutes 19 seconds. So your pace would be 4:39 per kilometre or 7:30 per mile. That's 8 miles an hour, Mike, you're looking at. So if you want to do a 5k at 7:30 minutes per mile, you're looking, that'd be 23 minutes 19 seconds for 5k, going at a pace of 4:39 minutes per kilometre. For a 10k, your pace is going to be oh no, we don't, right, hang on a minute. We want a pace of 7 minutes 30 again, sorry. Target pace 7:30 per mile. You do 10k in 46 minutes 34 seconds. That's at 4:39 per kilometre. 4 minutes 39 per kilometre. That'd be 6.21 miles, 10k. Half marathon and marathon pace. Let's have a look. So we're going to go to half marathon at a pace of 7:30. Right, that'd take you to 4:39 per kilometre. 4 minutes 39 per kilometre. You'd finish your half marathon in 1 hour 38 minutes. What are you looking at, Mike, for your times? What would you like to do? Mark Bin says 7 weeks, 6 days until Manchester. And Ward is asking, what's this app? The app is called Pace Calculator on iOS. So on Apple, on the Apple Store, look for Pace Calculator. It's got lots of other things on it as well. And then for the marathon, and you want to go at 7 minutes 30 for the marathon. That'd get you in 3 hours, 16 minutes and 39 seconds. So that's fairly speedy for the marathon. Jonathan says, thank you very much. You enjoy that, Jonathan? Was it a bit speedy for you? That was all right, wasn't it? Not too bad. Sped up every kilometre, did 7 kilometres, so decent effort from me and Jonathan, and thanks to Sean for hosting that, by the way. So yeah, Mike, I hope that's answered your question. Download pace calculator from iOS. That'll help you out if you're not good at maths. I know some of my paces in my head, but not all of them. Jonathan says he was at his 5k pace at the end. Well, that's good. Good training, Jonathan. Excellent stuff. Well done. Right, I'm done. It's late. It's time for bed. 20 to 10. Normally, I would be either slouched on the sofa watching some god-awful thing on TV or tucked up in bed, probably watching YouTube videos, to be honest, let's face it. I certainly wouldn't be running. It's not the latest I've run, though, having said that. I remember doing a Hoka run for Zwift at 2 a.m. for American time once. That was a bit crazy. You won't find me doing that very often. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody, for the chat on Facebook and YouTube. Much appreciated, as always. Thanks to Jonathan for running with me, and well done to Adam, who ran as well, I noticed. And thanks to Sean for leading that little run there. And we got a few questions to him, didn't we? So look out for the Zwift Race Series coming soon. Look out for the Watopia Run Festival coming soon. And Sean says lots more partner-based runs. So partners being big companies sponsoring runs that we do. We already do New Balance. That's on hiatus just at the moment, but very soon we'll be launching some New Balance runs. But then look out for other companies launching runs on Zwift, and when you do those runs, no doubt you'll get a t-shirt or a pair of shoes from that company in your avatar kit. So that is that. Thank you very much, everybody. Take care, and I might see you in the morning for another hill session, see how my legs are. Take care. Bye-bye, everybody.